What?
You've said these impending layoffs are due to
Okay, why don't you lay off? Like, literally. Next question.
Which White House official
Your
was
mom.
responsible?
Next question. Okay, go.
I have 2 questions.
I have 2 questions. What Party City did you buy that blazer from? And also, shut up.
The economic...
Stop! I literally said, you guys, not to say the word economic. It's gonna make me upset.
It was reported this morning that the president said...
You're ugly? Yeah, I heard that. Next question. Am I almost done? You told me I had to do this for 5 minutes and then I get a fun drink from Starbucks.
Follow-up question.
No.
Caroline.
No.
I-
No. Like, you're so annoying.
I wanted to ask about the president's
Can
plan.
I ask a question? Like, that's what you guys sound like.
Does the president have a plan to continue to drill?
So actually, I just spoke with President Trump this morning and he had to say this about drilling. Next question.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever this video finds you, welcome to Text. I just woke up, so that's where this video finds me. Like about 5 minutes ago. Not like a good mid-afternoon nap. At any rate. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's get into this. See what she has to say. Let's go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I brought a very special guest with me today, as you can see, Secretary McMahon. So I will begin my remarks. She's going to speak, and then we'll take some questions. She'll take questions, and I'll take questions from you as well. First off, yesterday, First Lady Melania Trump and Second Lady Usha Vance traveled to Marine Corps Air Station New River in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, where they spent the day meeting with students, educators, military families, and United States Marines. Both the First Lady and Second Lady were grateful for the warm welcome and remain deeply committed to supporting military families and the communities that serve our great nation. May God bless all of them. In economic news, the September jobs report showed the American economy remains strong, with 119,000 new jobs added, more than double expectations. These gains came after the summer passage of President Trump's historic tax cuts and multiple big trade deals with countries around the world. In particular, construction jobs surged by 19,000 in September, the largest monthly gain in a year. Nearly all of this solid monthly job growth came from the private sector and went to Americans rather than foreign-born workers, the opposite of what we saw under the previous administration. Inflation also remains under control, and wages are up by 3.8% over the year for American workers because of President Trump's pro-growth policies. In fact, real wages are on pace to increase roughly $1,200 for the average worker this year under.
That's because you're getting rid of the illegals. So therefore, the wage market is resetting itself. Like, have you ever worked a job? Like, okay, me working in the hotel industry, what they'll tell you is, like in the advert, if you've ever looked for a job and you've read the advertisement and it says competitive wages, and then when they talk to you in person about competitive wages, they say, well, this is the wage that we're paying in this area. So if it's $15 an hour, when you know that that job should pay more, that's because you have illegals who bring the wages down. They bring the wages down because they're getting paid whatever the corporation feels that they need to be paid. With them out of the job market, they have no choice but to pay you what you're supposed to be paid legally. So therefore, the competitive wages go up. So instead of you now making $15 an hour, you're now making anywhere between $18 to $22 an hour.
President Trump. This is a complete reversal of the failed Biden era, when we saw inflation skyrocket to 9%, causing private sector workers to see their wages decline by approximately $3,000. We know that Americans are still hurting from the 4-decade high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats. But President Trump is making significant progress to fix this, and he will not stop working until he solves it. As the president recently stated, he is never satisfied. For example, President Trump's policies are working to make Americans' Thanksgiving more affordable this year, from their commute to the dinner table. Nearly 100 million Americans are expected to drive next week to spend time with loved ones for the holiday. And
Yeah, because I have to be honest. Like, I went grocery shopping I went Thanksgiving shopping yesterday. Turkey, dressing, all of that stuff, all the fixings. I went and bought all my stuff, and it was less than $100. I spent $72.
To President Trump's drill baby drill agenda, the national average price of a gallon of gas on Thanksgiving Day is projected to be at the cheapest price since the COVID pandemic in 2021. President Trump is bringing down gas prices and providing significant savings to American families at the pump. And again, we expect those prices to continue to decline. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual survey, cooking Thanksgiving dinner will also cost less this year than it did last year and is down about 5% overall. The average price for a staple of the meal, a 16-pound frozen turkey, is down more than 16% from last year, which will provide critical savings for families and their budgets.
Yeah, because I bought a 15-pounder. I think 15-pounder was $13 and some change. It was almost like it was little under $1 a pound. But then again, I go to the Asian market to buy my meats. So I don't know what Walmart or Kroger is charging, but yeah, it was under $1 a pound.
President Trump's entire economic agenda is aimed at putting more money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. That's why he signed the largest middle tax cuts in history into law, from no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, to no tax on Social Security. And according to a new study from Piper Sandler, which is out this week, tax filers can expect an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year, and what could be a record-breaking tax refund season. So there is more good news to come. We know these refunds will make a huge difference for Americans to help pay down their bills and use towards life's expenses. In other news this week, President Trump took a significant step toward delivering on a core campaign promise to finally close the Department of Education. To shrink the bloated federal bureaucracy, the Department of Education just entered into new interagency agreements with 4 agencies: the Departments of Labor, Interior, Health and Human Services, and State. These agencies will now ensure the delivery of legally required programs while also refocusing them to better serve students. This common sense action brings the Trump administration much closer to finally returning education where it belongs, at the state and local level, not in Washington, D.C. The Democrats' reckless 43-day government shutdown did manage to do one valuable thing. It proved that America does not need a federal Department of Education. During the longest shutdown in history, the Department of Education furloughed 90% of its staff, and America's education system was not impacted whatsoever. Schools stayed fully open across the country. Students attended class and received normal in-person instruction, and our wonderful teachers received their paychecks uninterrupted. The Democrats' government shutdown made it painfully obvious that American families do not need the Department of Education. Since its creation in 1979 during the Carter administration, the Department of Ed has spent over $3 trillion taxpayer dollars without improving student achievement. Despite pure pupil spending having increased by more than 245% since the 1970s, math and reading scores are down in public schools. In fact, the most recent Nation's Report Card from 2024 showed that 13-year-olds' math scores are the lowest they've been in decades, and their reading scores are the lowest since testing began more than 30 years ago. It's clear that throwing more money at a broken system does not work, and that's why President Trump appointed the amazing leader behind me, our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, who is making these monumental changes at the direction of the president. We're very grateful to have you here today to talk about these changes and then take some questions. Hopefully, folks in this room will have some questions on the very important topic of education. So please, Mrs. Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Caroline. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today, and thank all of you for being here as well. My purpose here is to speak directly to the American families, not just you, but to the American families, about the work this administration is doing in education to reverse our national decline with a hard reset of our educational system. That reset was a top campaign promise from President Trump to send education back to the states and end Washington's micromanagement of education once and for all. This week, we took the most decisive steps thus far to make good on this promise to you. We have linked 6 groundbreaking partnerships with other federal agencies to delegate education department programs that are redundant with existing programs at Labor, State, Interior, and HHS. These interagency agreements to cut our own bureaucratic bloat are a key step in our efforts to shift educational authority from Washington, D.C. to your state education agency, your local superintendent, your local school board, entities that are accountable to you, and we encourage parents to always be involved. Cutting federal...
Yeah, let's be honest. Although you kicked it down back to the states, if you as a parent, if you're not an active parent, then you basically turned the school system back over to these weirdo politicians like Brandon Johnson and Gavin Newsom, who think that your son should be wearing a skirt and that your daughter's breast should be cut off. You've turned it over to them. So as a parent, you need to be actively involved, because the weirdos will show up and try to vote all of that psychotic stuff in. Prime example, you had Joy Reid, who a couple years ago, she was going against some woman who was against the pedophile books in the school system, like Little Boy Blue, where it teaches little boys how to enjoy anal sex and how to give oral sex. Books like that were in the school systems, and the mother, the head of some mom organization that was against that, Joy Reid was sitting up there trying to defend the books, talking about oh, this is Nazism. But now, as of this week, she turned around and said that she doesn't want men in women's spaces. I mean, this is what happens when you deal with tethers, though. But yeah, so in order to keep that weirdo-ness out of the school system, you need to be an active parent. You need to control the curriculum, and you need to get these weirdos out of the school system. You can't do that just by sitting on your tail. Let's go.
Bureaucracy is never a popular move among DC insiders. A chorus of anti-Trump voices have come out of the woodwork to complain that we are defunding education, harming students, or acting without a plan. This could not be further from the truth. The majority of Americans across the country handed to President Trump the popular vote precisely because they have seen the brokenness of a top-down education system run by the federal government. They're painfully aware that only 3 out of 10 students can read proficiently at their grade level. They know that college students are collectively $1.7 trillion in debt, and less than half of college graduates get a job that actually uses the degree which they studied so hard to get. They see more teachers than ever before leaving the profession due to burnout, overregulation, and lack of autonomy in the classroom.
Not to mention the violence. I've watched a lot of these teachers as they talk about why they're quitting their jobs and why other teachers are quitting. It's not just the curriculum. It's also because of the students and the parents. The students that they'd rather be on their phone, they'd rather be class clowns, and because of the curriculum, the way that the precedent is set, there's no punishment for these children. There's literally no punishment for these children. So then they come back into the classroom. They'll kick them out of class. They wind up having to call the school resource officer to remove the kid from class before it gets out of hand, especially when they're teenagers, before they get violent. They get sent to the principal's office, and an hour later, they're back in the class. Or 15, 20 minutes later, they're back in the class. There's no discipline. And then when they call the parents of these students, the parents are just as bad, if not worse, than the disobedient child. They actually want to fight the teacher. They curse out the teacher. They defend the child's bad behavior. I mean, you saw what happened with the kids that jumped that pregnant mother in Chicago. Both of those children's mothers they made videos, and I mean, it was like, oh well, my kid's a good kid. She been disciplined. Meanwhile, the kids sitting up there smirking, laughing, giggling, talking about their accomplishments. And the mother's like, tell them the grades you get. I get A's and B's, and I'm the homecoming queen, and I won the Super Bowl, and I flew a rocket ship, and the kids just smiling and giggling through fake tears. There's no discipline. There's no discipline.
Anti-Trump voices are stirring up fear that returning education to the states is a draconian action. When Americans hear that we are shutting down the department, but given no other details, 51% oppose it. But when those same Americans are informed of our plans to preserve important elements of our work in other federal agencies and to maintain the K-12 funding that is distributed to the states, that number flips to an even greater majority at 56%. They support returning education to the states and breaking up the bureaucracy. That's because the Department of Education is a pass-through entity. It doesn't educate a single student. The money it sends to states for education can be sent directly without waste. The Democrats' government shutdown proved that without a doubt, and I'll reiterate what you said, that the Department of Education was not necessary during the shutdown. Now, this is what I've seen already on my 50-state tour that I've embarked on. Educators are innovating in their schools. States are customizing their budgets and standards, and post-secondary institutions are planning for the economy of the future. We're not leading them. They are informing us. That's why our final mission as a department is to fully empower states to carry the torch of our educational renaissance. Education is local. It should be overseen locally by those who best know local needs. We're not ending federal support for education. We are ending federal micromanagement and paving the way for education renewal through state reforms like school choice, the science of reading, and restoring the right priorities in higher education. President Trump promised to send education back to the states, and we're keeping that promise. America's next generation will look back on the work we've carried out, thankful for an education system that prioritizes students over bureaucracy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Secretary. And we'll take some questions for the Secretary if you have them. Elizabeth, why don't you start?
Thank you for joining us. You announced the partnership to move some functions of the Education Department to other agencies. Are you talking to members of Congress about codifying this so that it lasts beyond the administration?
Yes, we started our conversation, and thanks very much for asking that, because there have been some reports that Congress is in the dark on this. That's clearly not true. We've been talking to, I've talked to dozens of members of Congress to explain to them exactly what we're doing, to bring them up to speed, and to say to them, look, when we have completed some of these transfers that are working incredibly well, then we will be looking to Congress to codify those, make them permanent.
Brian.
Thank you, Secretary McMahon. What is the update on the negotiations with Harvard? I know the president has publicly pointed to you as somebody who's worked on that. I think you've talked about that at length, but I'd like to understand, where are things with those negotiations with Harvard this time?
They're ongoing negotiations, and I feel very comfortable that we are getting close to having those negotiations finalized. It's been open door conversation all along.
Deanne.
Hello, Mrs. Secretary. The president recently posted about establishing a federal standard for AI. Do you know if the administration has a view on the use of AI for students in schools? And Karoline, do you know if the president personally uses AI?
What a dumb question.
I don't think so.
You can
I've
handle that
never
one.
witnessed it, so I can't attest to that.
Well, I do think AI is going to need guardrails, but I have witnessed AI firsthand. I was at the Alpha School in Austin, Texas, and the first 2 hours of every day in that school, students are learning through AI. They have their headsets on, they're in front of their screens, and the AI is really acting as like an individual tutor for those students, allowing those students that can progress faster to do that. Those who need a little catch up, it refeeds information to them. And so after those 2 hours of learning, the basics of what they're doing in their curriculum that day, then they spend the rest of the day. I mean, they have good recess and all of that time, but then they spend the rest of the day in what are called life skills, and they're actually using the information that they've learned this morning. So I've seen some AI in action that is really proving quite beneficial.
You know what? When it comes to AI, I tell people right off rip, I'm like, look, either learn it, especially artists, either learn it or get left behind. Learn to manipulate it or get left behind. Let me show you. I'll show you a prime example. Okay, let's see here. All right, so this is my business page. All right. My photography page. See all of these photos? These are all the original photos, except for this right here. That's got an AI look to it. But you see how these photos look, right? See how they all look? Would you like to know what AI has done to photos like this? I'll give you a prime example.
Clap when she walk, clap when she walk, clap when she walk, bounce when she. She's like the wind through my tree.
This is what AI has done. This was just TikTok. You better learn how to use AI in order to help you instead of being hateful towards it. AI can be a brilliant, beautiful tool if you use it right. I know I hate that they got that thing like it's a green tongue hanging out her mouth for a slug.
And out last night, yeah, sipping on some Henny, didn't even buy my drinks, nah, didn't spend a penny, had about 10 shots, that was 10 too many, yeah, only makes sense, I was thinking 10, 20, and my girls, they were saying that
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days when I was young.
This for every girl they call too much, too pretty, too loud, too thick, too tough.
Anyway, you have to be able to use AI to your advantage. or else you'll be left behind. So if the school system is using it to help children learn, especially those who have like, the attention span of a cat, then do it.
Michael.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary McMahon, as the Education Department continues to pare down, can you talk about taxpayer services like charter school grants and how the department will continue to assist kids with special needs?
Well, we are going to make sure that there's no interruption in getting that grant money out the door. I mean, that money is it comes from Congress. It's appropriated by Congress, and we legally are obligated to do that. And the transitions we're starting to make, our first programs that went over to the Department of Labor, that was a few weeks ago. We actually signed the first interagency agreement, which we accomplished under the authority of the Economy Act. We transferred grants for WIOA and for the Perkins Act. And the really good news is that the Department of Labor has a much more sophisticated system, technology system and grant fulfilling system than the Department of Education does. As a matter of fact, our executive manager that went over with that group over to labor said he would compare what the labor system is to education's like held together by bubble gum that is not connected to any other part. So we were able to get those grants out the door more smoothly, and states have actually better access for those systems than they do at the Department of Education. So that's a real bonus.
Take a couple more. Carrie, go ahead.
As part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion new regulations that came out from the administrations, a lot of schools, whether high school or even higher education is concerned, some of them are defying these new administration policies, even apparently according to a new report.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. But
As far as there's been a new report from the administration saying that half of medical schools are defying the administration when it comes to DEI policies. What type of action will the administration take for these schools that are defying the new DEI policies?
Well, certainly the president has been very clear, and the Department of Education has taken measures to make sure that as schools are developing, their policies, or if they have open DEI offices, they're closed, or DEI regulations and rules are stripped, from their programs, and so that will continue.
We'll take one.
I mean, let's just be honest. If you're still trying to use DEI in the school system, especially in the medical field, you're crazy. Because as we know, DEI takes the lowest graded person with the lowest test scores and elevates them to a position into which they're not worthy of having. This goes back to the whole airplane thing. If I need surgery, I don't want the DEI hire with the lowest grades performing surgery on me in the name of racial hierarchy. Give me the A+++ student. My life is on the line here. If I see a black doctor, I'm expecting that black doctor to be at the top of their class, not somebody that got hired as a D- student in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, usually a female. We've seen what happens with these DEI hires. What was that? The dancing doctor. And then you had the veneers doctor. You had a couple of veneer techs tearing people's teeth up, tearing up their mouths, using crazy glue and whatnot on people's mouths, performing surgery on people. You all even had the DEI BBL doctor using cement and caulk, injecting that into these women's bodies, and of course they're dying from toxic shock, getting paralyzed, having serious health ailments. Yeah, you got to cut all that out. Of course, as a hospital. Oh, keep in mind now, these women who were doing all of these, they had their own practices. They didn't work in regular hospitals. They had their own little practices set up in strip malls, because you could also get practically a free business loan, even though you had no substantial credit whatsoever, a mountain of debt, credit score in the 500s, but yet the government gave you loans, business loans, so you can open up your own practice. And you're out here killing people, ruining their lives, tearing up their mouths, because no hospital will hire your incompetent D- student self. Hospitals usually try to hire the best of the best when it comes to their doctors and nurses. They don't like failures, because you can be sued. Yeah, the DEI in the medical field needs to end.
More, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary McMahon, my question is, since you said 3 out of 10 students are literate with regard to their reading capacity.
Yeah, you remember that.
Would now the states help to improve those numbers, since you have gone back to the states?
I have no idea what the hell this chick is talking about, but you see, you got the cute black chick. Let's do it. Okay, let's do a face check while we got time. You got the cute black chick. You got the she, Caitlin Collins, who hasn't asked the question in well over a month. Let's see here. The black guy with the toupee. Let's see. I don't see the old black woman, the auntie. I don't see her. Here's California Cutie. Looks like she's taking the sitting down to do her readings. Let's see. Got this chick right here. She's normally here. Let's see. Don't see what is it, Steve Ducey? He hasn't been in here in a minute. Disappeared from the media from the press pool. She didn't introduce this guy, so I guess he's a nobody, even though he's sitting in the main press seat. Or maybe she's waiting till they finish asking this woman her question. Yeah, the chick who normally wears the horrible shoes that doesn't match her outfit. I haven't seen her in the past 2 press briefings, so that would be the past 2 weeks. And let's see. I guess that's it. Let's go.
Well, what we are finding that the states that are making great progress, it's through their own innovation. It's not coming from the Department of Education. I think the Department of Education is really misunderstood about what our function is. We don't teach one student. We have nothing to do with the curriculum that are in any states. We are a pass-through pathway from money that's appropriated by Congress to get to the states. But what we have seen in those states that have taken that initiative, and they are embracing the science of reading and returning that into their school programs. Louisiana has done it. Mississippi, they call it the Mississippi Miracle, because they were like, I think, bottom or next to last in reading proficiency in Mississippi. And now they're like middle of the pack, which has been a really big jump. Florida has, Iowa has, Tennessee. So, but these are innovations that are done at the state level. This is not anything we're dictating. And that's why I'm saying returning education to the states, where they really are already leading in their education endeavors. And 90% of their budget they provide. The federal government only provides 8 to 10% of the budget for education. So let's make sure that that grant money that's coming from the federal government is getting in their hands as efficiently as possible and getting to students. We don't want teachers having to spend their time and money in regulatory compliance. There was one superintendent chief who said to me that they had done some calculation in their state, and that for every dollar that went into the classroom in a grant, 47 cents was spent in regulatory compliance. So let's get the money into the hands of our students and our teachers. Let's raise the level of education. The other thing I'll do, and I'll quickly wrap up for you, is this 50-state tour that I'm have embarked on. We've done about 14 states. We've shut down a little bit during the shutdown. But what I am doing is visiting different kinds of schools, grammar schools, middle schools, high schools, micro schools, private schools, charter schools, the whole gambit. And in the end, my goal will be, as we step away and fully deliver education back to the states, is to provide them with a best practices toolkit of all of the things that I have seen around the country to say, hey, this is working. Check with these superintendents, check with these governors. And you know what I found a little bit is governors are a little competitive. So it's kind of nice to give some of these best practices out there. It'll work because it's already working. If we leave it with the people who are closest to the students, the president believes, as do I, the best education is that's closest to the child, and parents' involvement is critical to the success.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Linda.
It's a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your coming
All right.
today. Thanks for your great work. And
Thank
she's
you all very much.
a busy lady, so we'll let her
Come
get
on.
back to work. All right. Thank you again. Well, let's get to it. You guys were so calm with her. I wish you were that calm with me. We'll kick off with our new media suite as always. Javier, why don't you start us off and then we'll get to the rest of the room. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Javier Negre. I'm from Spain. I'm the owner of the biggest media platform in Hispanic politics, with brands like La Derecha Diario, Ida TV, or UH Plus, or Vicegrad in Spanish. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks for supporting the new media, also in the Hispanic community. We try to fight against medias like Telemundo, Univision, CNN, or NBC that are spreading fake news and attacking the ICE operations. We will premiere this Sunday the Real America's Voice, the right new show, the first Hispanic show against communism and woke culture that is promoted by people like George Soros to bring common sense all over the world, like happened in New York. I have two questions for you, if you don't mind. In Mexico, the young people is protesting against President Sheinbaum. They think she's doing nothing against the cartels. Sheinbaum used the police to attack them, young people, kids, girls, and she's attacking journalists like me in a country where 150 journalists have been killed in the past years. The USA legacy media is attacking President Trump for his comments about the fake news media, while they are not publishing anything about the murders of journalists in Mexico. Why do you think they stay silent about the murders of journalists in Mexico and the attacks to businessmen like Ricardo Salinas? And my second question is, Trump said he has a plan for the narco state of Venezuela. Does he have a plan for Mexico where, according to Stephen Miller, the cartels are controlling governments and territories?
Sure. Well, thank you, Javier.
Javier answered his own question. He wants to know, I mean, in so many words, what he was saying was, or what he's saying is that media members like him are being attacked and murdered by the cartels, and their president of Mexico, was doing nothing about it. And he answered his own question, like, because she's in the cartel's pocket. She's the cartel president. I mean, what do you expect us to do? That's a Mexico problem. You people as Mexicans need to solve your own problems. Don't come up here to America and then try to take over territories in America and complain about America. This is why we're sending your asses back, because you come up here and you don't assimilate. You bring down the wages of Americans. You increase the crime. You increase inflation. You increase the housing market. You know, supply versus demand. Get the hell out of here. Go back home and solve your own issues.
For the question, and thank you again for being here. We're proud to have new media voices in the briefing room. As for President Sheinbaum and the president's relationship with Mexico, I will tell you that we have seen historic strides from President Sheinbaum and her administration in Mexico when it comes to cracking down on the cartels. They have been incredibly cooperative with the president's efforts at our southern border to crack down on illegal immigration and also the illegal trafficking of drugs at the southern border. Now the president is is very interested in taking additional measures against the drug cartels. He's been very clear about that. He's spoken about it, and this is a promise that he made to the American public. And so his national security team is discussing these options all of the time. And on the campaign trail, the president promised to take on the cartels. He has taken unprecedented action to do so, and he has left additional options at his disposal on the table. So those are.
Yeah, that's the only reason why she's quote unquote supposedly helping at the border is because of the tariffs. It's because of the tariffs. Plus, the United States has pulled a lot of industry out of Mexico. Remember when he first got in office and the first thing he did was impose tariffs on Mexico and Canada? And then he gave them a 30-day pause so that way the auto industries could move their inventory across the border back into America. Yeah, he went back and imposed those tariffs after 30 days. And then he increased the tariffs if they didn't want to play ball concerning the drug trade. Especially with Canada. With Canada, there's more fentanyl, more drugs than people. But in Mexico, it's people and drugs. But they locked down the border. They built the wall. They're still building walls, reinforcing the walls. But the cartel members they have underground tunnels where they're trying to sneak people through. But the United States is blowing up those tunnels. They're clogging those tunnels on the American side of the border. This is why they're saying, hey, look, yeah, 0 crossings at the southern border. 0 crossings. If you want to get across, you have to go through the hellscape of rugged hills and valleys in a literal dead man zone in order to get across the border, and nobody's trying to do that. It's practically impassable. You will die before you get to the border. It is far off the beaten path. It's like trying to cross the border through the Grand Canyon. You got to walk at least 10 miles through the Grand Canyon with rattlesnakes and scorpions and whatnot. Sharks with freaking laser beams on their head in order to get across the border. They're not trying to do that. So, yeah.
Only decisions that the president can make. Thank you.
The silence of the legacy media about the murders of journalists in Mexico. 150 journalists have been killed in the past years.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something I wish the media would report on more, and it's something that this administration absolutely condemns. I can't speak for the media, but I can speak for the president. That's not something he wants to see.
Yeah, brother. What do you expect us as Americans to say about the murder of journalists in Mexico that are Mexicans? They're not American journalists. They're Mexican journalists. That's a you problem. Are you wanting us to help save you? Well, you need to talk to your president, your cartel president, about that. I mean, she clearly endorses your murders. So what do you want us to do? We're trying to get rid of you people, but you want to, it doesn't work like that.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president or get ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself.
I mean, let's be honest. The only reason Mondamni is coming to talk to Trump is he's trying to beg for money. He doesn't want the funding cut off. He doesn't want the government funding cut off, because if you cut off the government funding, then whatever little socialist, communist ideals that he can implement, he's going to have to have funding for that. You sat up here and ran on a platform of taxing rich white people, even though the majority of rich people, period, pay about 48% of New York's taxes. Be they just internet rich or own a business or whatnot, they pay 48% of New York's taxes. And there's ever since he won the election, there has been a mass exodus of rich folks leaving New York. Their houses, it was like the day after the election, so many houses went up for sale. You've got governors making videos telling New Yorkers, hey, especially the rich ones, hey, come to Tennessee, come to Mississippi. We've got this, we've got that, we've got the people, look at our blue skies, our crime is down. We're working with President Trump with the ICE situation. We don't believe in these ridiculous progressive policies. I mean, they're making these videos, these recruitment videos. Don't just go to Florida and Texas. Come down here. Come down to Georgia. Come down to Tennessee. Come to Kentucky. Bring your captain of industry self down here. Things that if you were any smart politician, that's exactly what you would be what is wrong with me? That's exactly what you should be doing. You should be ear hustling captains of industry, both foreign and domestic, into your areas, into your districts. Jobs equal votes. But that's not what's going on in some of these places. But Trump, he's been alive long enough. He knows a liar when he's talking to one. He's been in business long enough. His whole life, he's been a businessman. He knows a liar when he's talking to one. So he knows that Mondamni is going to be lying to his face. He's going to be lying through his teeth, and Trump would just be like, well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. That's what I would say. We'll see. Show me you can do it. Show me we can do it. Show me you can do it. Get 2 years. Show me 2 years of you being able to keep your word to me, and then I'll think about it. And actually, Ducey is in the audience. I just saw him.
Nancy.
Thanks, Caroline. This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of...
Oh, no, that's not him. I'm sorry. I thought that was him. Sorry. That looks like the poor man's version of him. Excuse me.
seditious behavior punishable by death. Just Democratic lawmakers of...
Nancy.
Thanks, Caroline. This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders. The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress who swore an oath to abide by the Constitution are essentially encouraging. We have 1.3 active duty service members in this country. And if they hear this radical message from sitting members of Congress, that could inspire chaos and it could incite violence and it certainly could disrupt the chain of command. These 3 members of Congress, I will also add, knew exactly what they were doing. You look at Alyssa Slotkin, she's a former member of the CIA. Mark Kelly was a captain in the US Navy. Maggie Goodlander was a naval officer, and notably, she is also the wife of Joe Biden's national security former advisor, Jake Sullivan. And so these members knew what they were doing. They were leading into their credentials as former members of our military, as veterans, as former members of the national security apparatus to signal to people serving under this commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, that you can defy him and you can betray your oath of office. That is a very, very dangerous message, and it perhaps is punishable by law. I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave that to the Department of Justice and the Department of War to decide.
But the president has.
You know what? She's right. I would immediately have them arrested. That's sedition. And the whole thing is that these goddamn Confederates have been trying to force a civil war ever since they lost the election. They're getting out of hand. They're getting way too out of hand. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Is this the video? All right, here's the video. Let me make sure I got it. All right, here we go. Let's say we want to speak directly to members of the military and intelligence community. The American people need you to stand up for our laws and our Constitution. Don't give up the ship. That's exactly what they're doing. But they're trying to force a civil war so bad. And remember, I don't know if y'all remember, but earlier this year, when they had Pete Hegseth, when he was getting grilled by Congress, and the one woman asked Pete Hegseth pretty much the same question. She asked him, would you shoot American citizens in the leg? And I was like, that's a weird question to ask Pete Hegseth. Why are you asking that question? She also asked, and now of course we see why she asked that question, because the Confederates are using the NGOs and the money from Soros and other sources to pay people, pay Antifa and whatnot, to be out here and harassing ICE agents. And as I said, and I'll keep saying it, if you would have shot these people, you would have opened fire on these seditionists, be they American citizens or not, because these were terrorists. What you saw in California early this year, I'm sorry, that was a terrorist act. You had people of a foreign nation and American seditionists attacking police and federal officers in order to claim California, LA, as the territory of Mexico. You should have been killing these people to send a message, a clear message. Because you're attacking, just because you're not firing guns doesn't mean you're not using deadly force. Let me hit you in the face with a brick, especially from an overpass, and you tell me whether or not that was deadly force that could have killed you. People go to jail for that. Throw a rock off of a freeway overpass on any regular day. Let it smash through somebody's windshield and see what happens to you. You should have killed those people. But now we know. And I had a feeling when that chick asked Pete Hegseth, would you shoot American citizens in the leg? I was like, this is a setup for something. And sure enough, here we are. Also, what did she ask him? They also asked Pete Hegseth, would he disobey an order from President Trump? And the whole thing is, if he disobeyed an order from the president, then he would have to immediately step down or be fired. But if all of a sudden he felt the need to arrest the president, then that's a military coup. That's a military coup. That happens in banana republic countries, not the United States. You don't do that here. As much as these people like to cry and harp and bitch and whine and moan about January 6th, here you are trying to force a true insurrection. You should be imprisoned for that. Let's see what they actually said in this video, because I've never seen it. I heard about it yesterday, but I've never seen it. Let's go.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy. Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now. Americans trust their military,
but that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
What illegal orders are they talking about? What illegal orders are they talking about? Any idea? Because the National Guard protecting American soil from enemies, both foreign and domestic, is in the Constitution. Right. Attacking ICE agents is not legal. It's not in the Constitution. Deporting people is in the Constitution. You're trying to, and this is the thing, because you have so many of these quote unquote woke people in the military who, in all honesty, have been brainwashed into communism, into accepting communism. You know, no one's illegal on stolen land. Remember they were saying that? It was all a setup. It was a preemptive cursor. It was illegal on stolen land. There you have people in the U.S. military who believe that crap. Mainly black. They believe that. They believe that America is stolen land and that the Mexicans really should be here. Like, well, God, no. This land was conquered and bought. Show me your deed. If it's stolen, show me your deed. Why do you think the black people from Tulsa, the ancestors from the Tulsa riots, why do you think those black people are having a hard time trying to get their land back from the people of Tulsa, the white folks in Tulsa? Because the way they look at it, it's conquered land or abandoned property. Just like in Israel, how you have, like, they chase out, you know, they have these bloodbaths in Palestine or in Palestinian territory, and then Israelis come in and settle on the territory. They start claiming land and claiming houses and everything. You can't get that back unless you use bloodshed. That's all. That's what that's about. But it's like, well, come take it. Come take it back. Mexico's not coming back to claim anything again. Well, unless it's California. They've already been getting kicked out of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. Wait till that big, beautiful bill passes. I mean, well, it passed, but wait till January 1st. Wait till you see what happens. I mean, you see, they've already did a huge recruitment drive. And of course, you have people that are failing the test because they're out of shape. A lot of those people are out of shape. So they're failing the test, but you're talking about men who are desperate for a job. They're not fit for the military. The police force isn't hiring. They can only supply so many jobs. So they tried to join ICE and Department of Homeland Security, and they're not fit for it. They need to get in shape. But again, that just shows the desperation of jobs. Thank God you have factories that are coming here, so that way those people can have jobs. But my point is that come next year, when ICE and DHS, when they roll out all of their new people, you won't need the National Guard, unless, of course, another violent insurrection occurs. But ICE will definitely change their tactics to where they should get very violent with these people running up on them, chasing them down and everything. I mean, it's surprising to me. You have ICE agents that are getting followed by people. Instead of stopping the cars and threatening to arrest these people, they need to get out with ice picks and just start puncturing these people's tires. Just puncture their tires. Start puncturing tires. Start breaking windshields. Sue us. We'll see you in court or whatever. But you disable these cars, you won't have to worry about it. Start disabling these crowds. You want to show up, we'll just start macing you instantly. We'll start macing you instantly. We'll start billy clubbing you instantly. We'll tear gas you instantly because you're interfering with federal officer operations. You want to blow a whistle? I'm gonna punch that whistle down your throat. I'm going to punch the whistle down your throat. Get the hell out of here. This is a dangerous situation. You see how we come stacked and packed with all sorts of body armor and everything? Because we're going after the worst of the worst. If all of a sudden one of them breaks out with an AR-15 or an AK and starts spraying the area, then you're a dead ass, aren't you? Are you going to blame us for it? So the best way to have crowd suppression is to suppress the crowd with physicality. That way people will stop showing up. Because nobody wants to get their ass kicked. Not for a little measly little $6,000 a month. You want to take a billy club to the skull for $6,000? You want to get your teeth knocked in for $6,000? Would you rather get shot for $6,000? You say, wow, the CIA is lurking to other countries. Yeah, you want to be such a defender of foreigners? Yeah, join the CIA. Go over there and go hug a Allah Akbar. Let me let her finish undercooking her souffle.
Frequently, but Caroline, can I just follow up? The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders. Every single
an illegal order, which
but
is
they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not. Every single order that is given to this United States military by this commander-in-chief and through this chain of command, through the Secretary of War, is lawful. And the courts have proven that. This administration has an unparalleled record at the Supreme Court because we are following the laws. We don't defy court orders. We do things by the books. And to suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do. And they should be held accountable. And that's what the president wants to see.
Yeah, because do understand that sedition, that's treason. And people who commit treason, especially members of government, should be hanged by the neck until dead. That's the law. Since you want to talk about the law, that's the law. You should be, they kill you for treason. You get hanged for they hang you for treason. They hang you for treason. They hang you for treason. Did we forget that? Did we forget that? Did we forget that? That they hang you for treason. That's that's a death penalty crime. Treason by a member of the government, a government employee, especially that high up, where you have power like that, not some office clerk shuffling papers. The penalty is death. We forget that. But they should immediately be removed from Congress. They should immediately be removed from Congress. AOC, Jasmine Crockett, etc. These people, Ilhan Omar especially, should immediately be removed from Congress because you are anti-American. You're calling for a coup. Have you lost your mind?
Phil.
Thank you. Ambassador Mike Huckabee had a meeting with Jonathan Pollard, a former U.S. citizen who was convicted and spent.
And this bitch, this seditionist, you got your nerve. Look at the look on her face. Look at the look on her face. I can't believe that you agree with President Trump. Yes. Why don't you? What country are you from? Where you think that committing treason is valid? Unless you're from some third world country, I don't want that. You need to wipe that smug look off your face. Go back to your shithole country. How about that?
Three decades in jail for selling state secrets to Israel. Did the White House know that meeting was going to happen? Does the administration condone it?
The White House was not aware of that meeting, but the president stands by our ambassador, Mike Huckabee, and all that he's doing for the United States and Israel.
You said that the president was going to do what was right for U.S. citizens, regardless of whether they lived in blue or red states. I'm curious if there's any chance in tomorrow's meeting with Mayor-elect Mamdani that he will be able to convince the president to abandon that promise to cut off federal funding to New York City.
Look, Phil, we'll see how the meeting goes tomorrow, and I'll let the president speak for himself. Natalie.
Thank you, Carol.
He's cutting off that funding. Hey, $5 and a cheese pizza say that Trump gonna cut off that funding for New York. $5 and a cheese pizza say he's gonna cut off that funding to New York until Mamdani shows that he can do the job without being a communist socialist, Sharia law, Holy Land 5, globalize the intifada or the enchilada, whatever the hell they be saying. And he bet not. I dare him to close down Rikers Island and let all those psychopaths out, like he's Bane. It's funny how life eventually imitates art, because somebody made a video of Mondami pretty much. Hold on, let me take that back. You had people take that speech from Bane when he took over New York and he emptied the prisons and everything. Yeah, it was like Mondami's first day as mayor of New York. He's Bane. He's literally Bane without the mask and the strength and the ability to fight and all of that. He's a foreign entity that has taken power, the highest seat of power in New York. Just like that white chick, highest seat of power in Portland. Karen Bass, known communist, highest seat of power in LA. Gavin Newsom, snake, scumbag snake. Brandon Johnson speaks like Mondami. Speaks like Mondami. Pritzker. Who's the other fool? Out in Minnesota. The one who was Kamala's running mate. Speaks like a communist. All of these democratic socialists, which are, like I said it months ago when they first started saying that shit. I was like, this is just a cute way to say communist. These people are taking money from foreign entities or their foreign entities, and they're trying to destroy America from within, one city at a time, the major cities at that. Brandon Scott turning a blind eye in Baltimore. You had the chick, some congresswoman, a black woman down there in Miami. She just got indicted stealing millions of dollars. Tiffany Henyard should be in prison. She got a court date coming up next year. Like, she's still not off the hook. She's got a court date coming up next year concerning the things that she was doing in Dalton. She's not off the hook. She's not off the hook. The government works slow. You know, the government is the old bull that walks down the hill to screw all the cows. Instead of running down to screw one or two, they're screwing you all nice and slow. And now you see what's going on with the Epstein files. All these Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries on down. You were so hard up to get President Trump. Come to find out, you all texting Epstein and taking money from Epstein and begging Epstein for money after he was convicted. Yeah, the releaser of the Epstein files was by far the worst thing that could have ever happened to the Democratic Party. Again, when Trump was addressing Congress, when they had the little black boy with the brain surgeries and everything, and he turned to the Democrats and he called them pedophiles, he was not joking. You think he doesn't know what's in the Epstein files? That's why, like, you know what? Okay, since y'all want to keep harping on it, screw it. Take the vote. Run it through Congress, bring it up to the Senate, and when it hits my desk, I'll sign it. And that's exactly what he did, didn't he? He signed it's on first thing here on the top of the docket. Give me my security briefing. Okay. Yeah, we'll kick their ass. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll starve them out. Yeah, we'll bomb those boats. Okay, are we done? Okay, is this the Epstein file? Yeah, give me my pen. Here you go. Send that to wherever it's gotta go. Let's release them damn files since they want to play games. I'll expose them to the world. We don't care about and by the way, you see that the Texas Supreme Court federal judge has overruled the redistricting of what happened down there in Texas. So, you know, there's this possibility that Jasmine Crockett will get her seat back. But unfortunately for them, the whole party of redistricting is a Supreme Court case. And the Supreme Court, as you saw, they are overturning a lot of race-based ideologies like DEI and everything. They're overturning these race-based policies because they're racist. So if you have districts that are based on race, that's racist. Redistricting is right now sitting on the desk of the Supreme Court. If they decide that redistricting is illegal because it's based on race, the Republicans win the majority seats. California, Illinois, Texas, New York, Massachusetts. All of these states that gerrymandered and rigged it so that way the Democrats have more seats than Republicans, pretty much freezing them out of the states. Yeah, they lose all those seats. Oh, yeah. Those people with the tax bill, yeah, they homeowners. Yeah, that's Gavin Newsom. That's Brandon Johnson trying to steal these people's homes. Either they steal your home or you pay the taxes in order to fund. I mean, you're not even trying to fund the illegals anymore because those people are self-deporting and the criminals are being arrested. So you trying to fund the illegals is no longer on the agenda. So Brandon Johnson, why are you trying to fill your tax budget deficit through taxing these people, majority black, out of their homes? These people's tax bills went up 300%. Even though he promised no new taxes. Yeah, okay, Mondami. I swear to God, these people, if you really want to get Brandon Johnson and Karen Bass and all of these other mayors and governors out of office, if you want to get them out quickly, you need to call for a forensic audit. You need to call for a forensic audit of your city and your state. Where's the federal funds going? You need to find out where your money is going. And if $1 has been spent on an illegal or has went into your leader's pocket, then they need to be arrested. They need to be federally charged and arrested for stealing taxpayer funds. You need to call for that. Stop yelling and screaming at Brandon Johnson in these freaking town hall meetings and get on the phone. Get on the phone with the president. Get on the phone with Kash Patel. Get on the phone with the head of the IRS. That's how you handle them. Said, notice how some people hating on Trump and still blaming Trump for Mayor Johnson is taxing the shit out of them. Right. Because the people that are blaming Trump but giving Johnson a pass don't even live in Chicago. The majority of them don't even live in the city. These are paid agitators. They're getting their money. These aren't homeowners. These are apartment dwellers. These are people who permanently rent. The perpetually poor. Because think about it. If they had a job, do you really think they'd be standing outside an ICE facility for 8 hours a day, all week, from sun up to sundown? No, the perpetually poor. Here's a check and a sandwich and a bottle of water. Oh, and your protest sign. Did you bring a mask? Yeah, we can't supply them from Walmart anymore. They stopped that. You got to bring your own mask. BYOM. I'm sorry. Let's get back to this.
What did the president mean when he called a reporter piggy?
Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves. And
Oh yeah, he called apparently because I haven't been on my grind with the reporting on Trump or whatnot. But yeah, he called a reporter a piggy. He called a reporter a piggy. Oh, I gotta find that clip. I saw it. I mean, I saw the title, but I never did watch the video. It was you know how he does the press gaggle before he gets on Air Force One. Yeah, he called a reporter a piggy. We're gonna see if we can find that if we have the time.
I think it's one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president, because of his frankness. And he calls out fake news when he sees it. He gets frustrated with reporters when you lie about him, when you spread fake news about him and his administration. But he also is the most transparent president in history. And he gives all of you in this room, as you all know, unprecedented access. You are in the Oval Office almost every day asking the president questions. And so I think the president being frank and open and honest to your faces rather than hiding behind your backs is frankly a lot more respectful than what you saw in the last administration, where you had a president who lied to your face and then didn't speak to you for weeks and hid upstairs and didn't take your questions. So I think everyone in this room should appreciate the frankness and the openness that you get from President Trump on a near daily basis.
All right, I found it. I found it. Here we go. Okay, let's see what happened.
There's nothing incriminating in the file, sir.
The reporter was asking about Jeffrey Epstein discussing the president in emails.
Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, you know, that is Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw Skype because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You got to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan checks.
Sir,
Yeah,
if
Jennifer,
there's
go ahead.
nothing
Go ahead.
incriminating in the file, sir, why not
Quiet,
take us
quiet.
Matter of fact, hold on. While we on the subject, before we even hold on, because let's see, hold on. I wanted to show y'all this because let's see. I think this is it. Let me see. Oh no, here it is. Wait, here it is. All right.
You talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
I love this. This was funny.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I have.
Oh wait, she's defending this POS. The chick who was taking all that money from Epstein. This is the chick that is getting lambasted. They tried to censor her in Congress, but they voted against censoring her because like some Republican is also up for being censored. So they want the Confederates, you know, they're trying to play that, you know, one hand wash the other thing. But that Republican guy, he beat his girlfriend. You know, he threatened her with violence, and you know, he enacted violence, threatened her with violence, blackmailed her, told her if she told anybody, he would release her new videos and everything. That guy needs to be drummed out of Congress, just like she should be drummed out of Congress. So that's what this is about.
My team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mean people that
You
aren't
mentioned Lee Zeldin.
You mean the people who aren't in Congress anymore? You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? Who gives a who cares if the Bushes took money from that? Well, then go after them. Go after them then. We don't care. We don't care. Are they in Congress now? Are they in the Senate? Are they working in government? The Bushes have been out of government ever since what, 2015? When Trump won the election, that was it for Jeb Bush. There's no Bushes in Congress or in the Senate or in the White House. Just like there's no Clintons. There's no Obamas. There's no Bidens. We don't care. What is he talking about? Go after him. Go after him.
There, he's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said, you mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign.
Yeah, you see what Lee Zeldin said? Because he's still in office. He said, yes, Crockett, a physician named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who was a totally different person than the other Jeffrey Epstein, donated to a prior campaign of mine. And then he did the ghetto clap. No freaking relation, you genius. This was 2 days ago. And wait till you hear her response.
Of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that...
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Bring this on us in real time. I wanted the Republicans in real time out there. And
do you want to correct the record on the people that...
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
But you did. The backtracking is crazy, but do understand what happened here. Her trying to make a point, her team, like she said, oh, they quickly sprung this on us. But you're part of the oversight committee, right? You're supposed to know what's in the files, right? But you're telling me that your team Googled it, and in 20 minutes, these are the Republicans that you could find, that your team found, and put on a sheet of paper and slid in front of you, and you sat up there and lied in Congress about Lee Zeldin getting money from No, you didn't say a Jeffrey Epstein. You said Jeffrey Epstein, as in the Jeffrey Epstein. You made a complete fool of yourself, and you talking about, well, there was no picture there. Well, gee, either your team hates you or you're a moron. Which one is it? Personally, I think that article that they wrote about her, where they said how she's a tyrant and so self-absorbed and narcissistic, got her own picture as her screen lock and all of this stuff, and she, she's very nasty to her staff. Yeah, I think that your team hates you, and they've got you out here looking like you look right now, like a goddamn fool. I love it. I love it. I love it. You got exactly what you deserve. Where's my, there you go. Let's get it.
Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein. So at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now,
yes, you were. Because the Jeffrey Epstein that Lee Zeldin took the money from, guess what? The pedo Jeffrey Epstein was already he was already worm food. He was already worm food. A simple little Google search could have showed you that. Your team hates you.
have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, We're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So,
hold on. We're going to find out. I'm sorry. Hold on. I should let it play, shouldn't I? Okay, hold on. I'm look.
For one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein, because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Hold on. Let's go. AI mode. Did Lee Zeldin take money from Jeffrey Epstein? Lee Zeldin did not take money from the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, the sex offender. He did, however, receive a campaign donation from a different person with the same name, a physician. That took all of what? How long did it take me? Less than 15 seconds. Took me less than 15 seconds. You mean to tell me your team couldn't do that for you in 20 minutes? Yeah, your team set you up because they hate you. They truly hate you. Your team hates you. Took less than 15 seconds. Your team hates you. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's see. What? Hold on. Let's find out. Let's see. What Republicans took money from the pedo Jeffrey Epstein? Okay, well, it won't give me a full answer, but oh, here we go. Business Insider. This is all you had to do. AI is such a wonderful tool when you use it right. It's such a wonderful tool. So let's see. Since 1990, Epstein has donated $147,426 to various Democrats and $18,250 to Republicans, according to Center for Responsive Politics. Chuck Schumer, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Bob Dole each received thousands. Let's see. Some politicians, including disgraced former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer and retired Senator Chris Dodd, returned Epstein's donations as the accusations of the financier's wrongdoings became public. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee also returned $10,000 from Epstein 3 days after receiving it in 2018, according to the Daily Beast. Stacey Plaskett, who took money and questions. Let's see. Epstein made the maximum individual contributions, $5,400 to Plaskett's re-election campaign in 2016. Epstein also donated $2,700 to Plaskett in 2018. Oh my God. Epstein gave so much to Gwendolyn Beck, an independent running for Congress from Connecticut in 2014, that he violated the Federal Election Commission's individual contribution limit. Look at that. $12,600 to Beck, $2,600 directly to Beck's campaign. Let's see, 2 donations of $5,000 each to 2 political groups supporting that candidate. Records from the Federal Election Commission show the FEC declined to prosecute. Oh, Pritzker. Okay. I remember Eliot Spitzer, the guy that sent no, that would be Wiener. I remember Spitzer. I remember he was called up in some stuff too. Yeah, there we go. He was soliciting prostitutes. Okay. I guess he needed that Epstein money for his prostitutes. John Kerry received $4,000 from Epstein between 91 and 02. Okay. So, but this was before he was caught up, right? Senator Chris Dodd returned a grant donated from Epstein in 06, probably because he knew what the hell he was up to. Who else? Look at that. A total of $7,000 to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. I bet he didn't give the money back. Schumer received 7 separate donations of $1,000 each from from Epstein in 92, 95, 97, according to the Center of Responsive Politics. George W. Bush received a grant from Epstein. The 92 election campaign. Epstein also donated $2,000 to support 92. Epstein also donated 25 G's to the Clinton Foundation in 06. Clinton said in a statement that he also took 4 trips on Epstein's private jet in Connecticut with his work for the Clinton Foundation, but that he knows nothing about the terrible crimes Epstein was charged with. Well, we're about to find out next week. Let's see, in 96 election, Epstein supported Clinton's opponent, Bob Dole. Epstein donated $1,250 to Dole. Epstein gave Dole $1,000 in March of 95, followed by another $250 that October. Let's see. Epstein also tried to donate more than $4,000 to former Senator Jeff Bingaman, a Democrat from New Mexico, but Bingaman returned some of it. Bingaman returned $2,073 to Epstein that same day, according to the Center of Responsive Politics. I wonder why. Epstein donated another $1,000 to Bingaman in October of 94. I mean, this stuff is easy to find. Her team hates her. Former Senator Joe Lieberman, Democrat, turned independent from Connecticut, received $3,000 from Epstein. 3 separate donations of $1,000 to Lieberman in 94 and 99. Former Senator Tom McKellen, a Democrat from Maryland, received $3,000 from Epstein. Let's see, donated $1,000 to McMillan in 1990 and 2092. You just follow the money. Alfonso D'Amato, a New York Republican, received $2,000 from Epstein. Made 2 donations of $1,000 each in 92 and 97. New Mexico Democrat John Kelly received $2,000 from Epstein for his unsuccessful campaign bid. $1,000 each to Kelly in 2000. Let's see. Epstein gave former U.S. Republican Rick Lazio, a Republican from New York's 2nd District, $2,000. 2 donations of $1,000 each in 96. Let's see. Epstein gave $2,000 to former U.S. Representative Wayne Owens, a Utah Democrat, in 1990. 2 donations of $1,000 each. Let's see. Epstein donated $1,000 to Bob Packwood in 91. What a name. A Republican senator from Oregon. Packwood resigned from the Senate in 95 following allegations of sexual harassment. You should have got some more of that Epstein money and paid them off. Epstein donated $2,000 to the Delaware Democrat Charles Oberle III for his unsuccessful bid in 94. Made 2 donations to him. Let's see. Epstein donated $500 to former Senator Timothy Worth, a Democrat from Colorado, in 91. That was rent money. Former New York Senator Daniel Patrick Monahan, a Democrat, received $2,000 from Epstein in 98. Monahan returned $1,000, half the donation, to Epstein 7 months later. Gee, I wonder why. You notice nobody's giving up all the money. When they return the money, very few people are giving up all the money. Former Senator Mark Pryor, a Democrat from Arkansas, received $1,000 in 2002. Epstein donated $1,000 to Eugene Watts, a Republican member of the Ohio State Senate, in 93. Isn't that interesting? You notice that they said that she never gave the money back, but she said that she donated the money to a women's abuse shelter. I don't believe her. I don't believe her. But you know, that's all Jasmine Crockett's team had to do was what we did. That didn't, I'm sorry, did that kill 20 minutes? Did that kill 10 minutes? That didn't even kill 5 minutes. That maybe killed 2 minutes of the stream. 2 minutes. That chick is a moron. I really do hope the Supreme Court kills gerrymandering based on racial components. Just do away with it. I don't want the Confederacy. Look, there may have been a time in my life where I was all liberal and Democrat or whatnot to a degree, but no, no, this is not. Everybody says, a lot of people who have left the Democratic Party or are highly dissatisfied with the Democratic Party are saying that this is not the Democratic Party that they knew. This is not what they grew up with. And you need to be very afraid of this version of the Democratic Party because it's not the Democratic Party that, quote unquote, is trying to fight for the working class. These are communists. These are communists and Muslims. These are foreign entities that have now taken over that party. Why do you think they're trying to force a civil war so bad? They're winning these elections, but it's easy to root them out. All you have to do is just do a forensic audit. Same with members of Congress. Just like they ran up on Eric Adams and got half of his staff is on their way to prison. That chick in Miami on her way to prison. Shane Tao out in Oakland, that mayor on her way to prison. That Muslim black chick sitting up here screaming and hollering racism all the time. Yeah, she's now out of government, spending a month in prison. I mean, it's a light sentence for stealing money. All you have to do is follow the money. Get these people out of office.
Go ahead.
Let's follow up.
Yes.
The Washington Post just reported that the Coast Guard has.
I'm calling on Bloomberg. Go ahead.
Caroline, thank you. 2 questions for you. The New York Times is reporting that the administration is now sending a U.S. official to the G20. They're sending Mark Dillard. Can you confirm if that is true, and then also explain the shift in?
I'd be happy to.
You know what? Look at this chick still got that look on her face ever since she got cussed out. She still got that pissy look on her face. She hasn't changed her facial expression ever since she got slapped down.
To explain, because there is not a shift. The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador.
Wait, what'd he say? Hold on, what'd he say? Hold on, let's go to the Twitter twatter. Hold on. Because you know he mad because he couldn't get his mineral deal. He mad because he couldn't get his mineral deal. Like, hold on, bro. You got all these dead people. You out here killing white farmers, but you talking smack? Hold on. Is this it? Let's see.
So we made sure that we took back our land. I will tell you this, my dear brother.
Zimbabwean president Mnangagwa says whites are very easy to chase away. Notice the laughter and applause from the crowd. This is who South African politicians look up to. This was on the 16th.
Whites are very easy to chase away. Do you want me to tell you the truth? We were young then. But we loved our Mugabe. It was very revolutionary, you know. So we made sure that some of the white farmers, we asked a few of the villagers, to go at the gate, the white man's gate, and they do some business there, right? And they go back home. When the white men came in, when they see what is at the gate, they packed and went away.
So you're part of government sanctioned terrorism. Okay, that's nice to know. Is this what he had to say? Let's see here.
It cannot be that a country's geographical location or income level or army determines who has a voice and who is spoken down to. And it basically means that there should be no bullying of one nation by another nation. We are all equal.
No bullying from one nation by another nation, but yet you are resorting to terrorist tactics to chase out white farmers to the point where they had to seek asylum to the United States. They couldn't go back to their home countries, so they came here because their agricultural knowledge is desperately needed here in the United States. We could use more farmers as we're trying to bring our prices down on food. We could definitely use more farmers. You're chasing out your agricultural center while turning around and wanting, got your hand out to the United States, but we're the bullies. Okay.
In choosing the theme, when we chose the theme that we must advance a vision of meaningful, credible global cooperation, we did not only mean a small club of leaders. We meant the people of the world must be able to be part of that vision. It is our expectation that this social summit will be remembered.
Let's see. South African President Ramaphosa criticizes Trump's bullying after he skipped the G20 summit in South Africa. The country's geography, income level, or military size cannot determine who has a voice and who is silenced. There should be no bullying of one country by another. We are all equal. Yeah, tell that to your white farmers. Yeah, says the man who is taking away the voice and rights of minorities in this country. Now, you sure got your fucking nerve, don't you? Like, I tell you what, bro, how about you get your weight up, then come see us?
Or the representative of the embassy in South Africa is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
On Ukraine, there have been reports that President Zelensky...
Hold on before y'all get mistaken. I am not defending white people, okay? I'm not defending white people. But you can't sit up here and talk about how, systematic racism and whitey this and whitey that, and then turn around and think that inflicting the same thing against them somehow, sure, you say it makes it even, but all it does is you just keep the pendulum swinging. Do you understand? Right now, it's during Biden's era. Excuse me. During Trump's first term and Biden's term, the pendulum was on the black people's side. Remember, Trump let you tear down all them racist statues, right? He's the one who let you tear down all those racist statues. He's the one that condemned white supremacists. No other president did that outside of what was it? Was it Woodrow Wilson or whatever? Where they deemed the KKK a terrorist organization and they shut them down. I may have had the wrong president, but you know what I'm talking about. Outside of that, no other president has condemned white supremacists outside of Trump, those two presidents. So now the pendulum is swinging back. You understand? In order to stop that pendulum from swinging, you just have to stop it on both sides. You have to stamp it out. You already see that as a black person here in the United States, if you encounter somebody doing something racist, you got it on film or whatnot, that white person gets punished. That's never happened before in the history of this country. You know, a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. Yeah, you keep on doing that and you'll continue to lose your job. You'll continue to go to jail. You'll continue to get fined. Your GoFundMe's will be shut down. That era is over. We have to understand that era is over. That doesn't mean you give up the fight, but understand that, oh, okay, I'm going to document, and then I'm going to air your ass out and let social media and your corporation and everything, all the jobs and whatnot, let them do what they do. But in order to do that, you can't retaliate, because you just exacerbate the situation. You want true racial harmony? Then you stamp it out when it happens.
He said, you know, he's looking to look at the plan that there's been reports about the Trump administration proposing a plan. Can you just give an update on where Russia-Ukraine stands, and does the president plan to speak with Zelensky anytime soon, or when can you expect that?
So I'm happy to provide an update. I've seen quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia-Ukraine. So let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He has grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, that Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally, to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment. So they have been engaged with both sides, and these talks are continuing. As always, I'm not going to litigate the details of this plan as it's ongoing and it's in flux, but the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done.
Yeah, you're right. You know, DeCarlo, good to see. Sometimes they get punished, but it's not the same proportionately. But you do have somewhat of a point. Appreciate it. True racial harmony will never happen. Yeah, just like, you know, you can never stomp out racism. You can never stomp out discrimination. You can never truly stomp it out. But when it rears its ugly head, then it has to be dealt with at that time. Right? Yeah. Like I say, in my opinion, but you make great points. I appreciate it. You know, I don't like to get up here and argue with y'all. Like, you know, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. At some point, it has to stop. It'll never stop, but at least it's watered down.
And I'll also add, I know Secretary Driscoll did meet with President Zelensky today. We spoke with him. He was very optimistic following that meeting. And so, again, we are having good conversations with both sides with respect to ending this war.
Karoline?
Sure. Go ahead.
Follow up on Ukraine. You said this is a good plan. So according to our sources, this proposal demands major concessions from Ukraine and doesn't demand much from Russia. So was Russia involved in drafting
Your
this?
understanding is wrong. Have you read the full plan? You haven't.
Sources said.
Yes.
So if you can give details,
You've
maybe.
read reporting from one side. So I want you to understand that the administration has talked equally with both sides. You have seen President Trump engage directly with both President Putin and President Zelensky. Likewise, his national security team has as well. In fact, Special Envoy Witkoff and Secretary Rubio met with some of the Ukrainians just in the past week to discuss this very plan. And so just like you saw with respect to Israel and Gaza, we are hearing out both sides of this war to understand what can you commit to end the war. And that's ultimately how we are going to get to an agreeable solution. That's what the president has directed of his team. I know there's a lot of criticism out there and a lot of doubters, but I would just remind you of the historic success that this president and his team accomplished in the Middle East. We believe that is possible with Russia and Ukraine, and we're hoping and working very hard to achieve that. Stephen.
Could you provide a little more context on what to expect tomorrow with the Mamdani meeting? Will it be in the Oval Office, or is it going to be open at least partially to the press?
I don't have any more details to read out for you on the meeting quite yet, Stephen. I know it's of great interest to you and the New York Post, but we'll keep, maybe if it opens, we can commit to letting you in.
I'm going to cover that.
Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. It came up yesterday during a confirmation hearing for the president's pick to lead the CFTC that the CFTC currently has 0 Democrat commissioners, whereas usually it's had 2 or more. Does the president plan to appoint Democrats to financial regulators like the CFTC and SEC, or does the president feel that there shouldn't be Democrat leadership at those agencies, consistent with the administration's move earlier this year to remove Democrats from the FTC and other agencies?
I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't spoken to the president about the CFTC in quite some time, but I'm happy to check in with our presidential personnel office and see if there's any updates that we can provide.
Hell no. Get your Hell no. Get your sabotaging asses the hell out of my government.
Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Last week on Fox News, President Trump said that we've had a lot of problems with the French. How would you describe the current relationship between France and the U.S.?
Look, the relationship remains very strong. President Trump speaks quite frequently with Emmanuel Macron. I think they have a good working relationship. But the president is not shy to point out when he has disagreements with world leaders as well. And he's done that with respect to Mr. Macron as well. Deanna, go ahead.
Caroline, there are reports that Qatar is acting as a mediator in the Ukraine peace process. Can you confirm that? And why did the president choose that country?
I'm not going to get into further details other than what I previously shared, which I think was quite a bit of information. Brian?
Thank you, Caroline. 2 questions. You were talking about earlier in this briefing about the president's orders. You were going back and forth about what the ad said, what it didn't say. My first question is
the ad,
the advertisement that the Senate Democrats were featured in. So the first question is, no matter what the order is, it could be to any administration official, military or otherwise, no matter if legal experts might think it's illegal, does the president expect those cabinet members, administration officials to go ahead with those orders regardless of any outside thinking or experts?
The president expects his cabinet officials in the administration to follow the law and to demand accountability and hold people accountable for their dangerous rhetoric. And I would just add that if this were Republican members of Congress who were encouraging members of the military and members of our United States government to defy orders from the president and from the chain of command, this entire room would be up in arms. But instead, it is the other way around, and I think that's quite telling. I'm going to let you all go because the president, excuse me, I appreciate the encouragement this afternoon, but President Trump is about to meet in minutes with Israeli hostages who this administration freed, and so I'm going to go up to that meeting, and you will hear more about that later. Thank you.
There you go. Thinking aloud. The ABM, right? Email me here. Email me. No, matter of fact, I'm gonna leave it alone. What I said the other day, last night or the night before, I meant that. Like, I didn't know. I know. You got to stop feeding the parasites. All right, y'all. Got to stop feeding the parasites. I will catch y'all later. Y'all be straight. I'll catch y'all tomorrow if they do the Mamdani press conference.
Now, gentlemen, Mr. Butler's been up north, I hear. Don't you agree with this, Mr. Butler?
I think it's hard winning a war with words, gentlemen.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, Mr. Hamilton, there's not a cannon factory in the whole South.
What difference does that make, son, to a gentleman?
I'm afraid it's going to make a great deal of difference to a great many gentlemen, sir.
Are you hinting, Mr. Butler, that the Yankees can lick us?
No, I'm not hinting. I'm saying very plainly that the Yankees are better equipped than we. They've got factories, shipyards, coal mines, and a fleet to bottle up our harbors and starve us to death. All we've got is cotton and slaves and arrogance.
That's treachery!
All right, bye. Thanks for the fun.
Get the fuck out!